Hi there. Today I'm going to walk you through Hylo's participatory funding feature, a tool that lets communities decide how to distribute funds or prioritize projects. This is perfect for community grants, budget allocation, or any decisions where you want democratic input from your members. Today we'll cover how to set up a funding round, how to participate in the funding round, the voting process, and reviewing results. Let's dive in. Okay, let's create a funding round. To create a round, you would click on the Create button, or this plus icon here, and then on Funding Round. First, let's fill out the essential details, including the title, the description, and an optional banner image. So you'll see here we have a round to fund communities on Hylo, and a description elaborating a little bit more on the funding round. Now let's look at submission criteria. First, you're able to customize the term used for submissions. This could be projects, this could be proposals, whatever is relevant to your funding round. And below, you'll see a section to include submission criteria. Here you include important information that submitters need to include in their proposal. For this example, we're going to have folks include their group purpose, community description and goals, a budget breakdown, and a timeline for completion. Here, I can restrict who can submit in the round. For example, only members with a certain role or badge. And finally, you can require a budget for submissions. Now, let's set the voting parameters. Again, we can select who can vote in a round based on their role or badge. Now let's decide how voting works. There are two main approaches, priority voting or co-budgeting. What's the difference? If you choose votes, this indicates priority voting. With priority voting, voters allocate actual votes to rank proposals in order of preference. This helps you understand what the community prioritizes most. Here, you can customize the term votes to be something like tokens or another relevant terminology. Now, for co-budgeting, you would actually select a currency. With this, voters allocate actual funds across multiple proposals, deciding not just what they want to support, but how much they want to allocate. Voters can split their budget across multiple proposals, and multiple proposals can get funded simultaneously based on how much support they receive. So let's dive into the options here we have around priority voting. You will see that you can divide the same number of tokens per voter or divide a total number of tokens evenly among voters. With option 1, every voter gets the same fixed amount, like 100 votes each. If 5 people join, that's 500 votes total. If 10 people join, that's 1,000 total votes. With option 2, you set a fixed pool, say 1,000 votes total. If 5 people join, they get 200 votes each. If 10 people join, they get 100 votes. So the pool stays the same, but gets divided amongst the voters that show up for the round. Now, if we decide to do co-budgeting, you have similar options. For this example, we have $5,000 to allocate. If we decide the same number of US dollars per voter, each voter gets the same fixed amounts to allocate, like $100 each. If 5 people join, that's $500. If 10 people join, that's $1,000. However, for this example, we're going to divide the total number of currency that we have available, which is 5,000, amongst voters, because we have a fixed budget of $5,000. So if 5 people join, they each get 1,000. If 10 people join, they each get 500. So we're going to divide the 5,000 evenly among voters. And here you will see that we have a minimum and maximum amount that can be allocated to a single submission. So this is optional, but for this, I'm going to say that all 5,000 can be allocated to one submission. Lastly, let's schedule the round. You could either manually advance the round or set dates for the phases to automatically transition. While you might set these dates, you can still manually transition the phases, and we'll show you how to do that. Once we've completed editing the round, we can publish it to move it into the lobby or announcement phase, where members can see and join the round, or we can save it as a draft so it can continue to be refined. Now let's explore the interface from a round creator or steward's perspective. Under Manage, you see the option to edit the parameters of your funding round, and you'll also see the current phase that the round is in. From here itself, you can manually transition the phases or go back to a previous phase. You also see the option to delete a round. Under chat, you will see a dedicated chat space for all the folks participating in the round to share ideas, find collaborators, and more. Under participants, you will see those who have joined the round, as well as if they can submit a proposal or vote in the round based off of the parameters you selected earlier. Once submissions are open, they will display under submissions, and under about, you will see what phase the round is in and all the round parameters that you set. Now let's explore the member experience. Navigate to the Funding Rounds view here in the group menu to see the rounds in your group. Here you'll see the round that we created earlier. You can join the round directly from this view here, or you can click on the round to learn more about it and to join it from here. Since the round is in its announcement or lobby phase, I won't be able to create any submissions yet. However, I can explore the round criteria, the voting parameters, I can engage with others in the chat space, and when submissions open, I can create my proposal. So now you'll notice that submissions are open, which means we're in the submissions phase, where we can submit our proposals. Let's go ahead and do that. To create a submission, click on the Submissions tab and then Add Submission. Here you will notice the submission criteria that we set earlier. So let's make sure our description meets that submission criteria. So you'll notice we added a title, a thorough description that meets the submission criteria, the total budget needed for our project, and you'll notice below that we can also add images, attach files, and a location. And then I'll click on this green button here to submit my submission. Once submitted, I can go back and edit my proposal here by clicking on these 3 vertical dots. I can copy a link to my proposal and I can delete it. So now we're in the discussion phase. During this phase, members can comment on other projects, ask questions, and refine their proposals based off of feedback they receive via comments or in the chat space. Folks can edit their proposals up until the voting phase. However, you'll notice there's no way to add new submissions during the discussion phase. New submissions are closed. So now we're in the voting phase. Let me show you how folks can allocate their votes, or in this case, distribute their funds. At the very top, you will notice how much you have to allocate. And here it says $1,250 US. So how did we get here? If you go to the About phase, you will see that we decided that there was $5,000 available as a part of this funding round. And we decided to divide the total amount equally amongst all the voters. We have 4 voters in this round. 5,000 divided by 4 is 1,250. So let's allocate these funds. So you can click on a project to learn more about it and allocate your resources accordingly. You will notice the total amount changes that you have to distribute as you begin to distribute your funds. You can change your allocations until voting has ended. So you can always come back here and adjust the allocations that you've distributed. So once voting closes, the round is complete, and now we can see the final results, how many votes people allocated to each project. This transparency helps build trust in the process. Currently, the actual fund distribution happens outside of Hylo. However, the platform provides a democratic decision-making infrastructure and transparent results to help guide that distribution. So in summary, Hylo's participatory grant-making gives your community democratic input on funding decisions, supports both priority voting and co-budgeting, includes built-in phases for idea development and refinement, provides transparent results that everyone can see, and can be customized for who can submit and who can vote. Thank you for joining us on this short demo. We'll see you on Hylo.